All right. Welcome to the stream. It is me. We are chilling. Just want to check out these levels quick. There I am. Check two. Mic test. Check two. Mic test. Alright, that's looking decent. Hey there, thanks for stopping in. Just kind of getting everything going here. Try around there. Lock those decibels in. Good. Alright, we're just talking just over. Great. Alright, awesome. Hi. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. It's me. We're chilling. We're back at the World Build once again. Daggerford, if you've been keeping up, is the place that I have chose for my next campaign. Oh, hold on, my phone's gonna fall out of my pocket. Oh, and land on the floor. We love when that happens. It's the I'm just not good with phones. You know what? I'm just not. I don't know. I think I'm not done yet, but I have destroyed, mangled, lost, and forgotten so many phones in my lifetime. Hey Juan John, what's up? Good morning. So let me get some light on here. Ta-da! Nice, thanks for lurking. Have a good meeting. Talk soon. I won't. Alright, let me get my stuff up here. So today we are working on some names and backstories. We have, I should say, we have done a decent amount of legwork. And I'm pulling that up for us to see here now. So let me switch back to my main. So you see here I have a fairly long list of, I call it my lot list. So essentially this is all the houses or lots that exist inside the city of Daggerford. I chose Daggerford because it is a city, but it's not like as big as Neverwinter or Baldur's Gate. So it's manageable in its size, I believe. And I'm kind of looking at about 150 buildings, give or take a few. So this is everything that will be down on, let me bring up a map for y'all, for everybody's viewing pleasure. Yeah, appendix. Here we are. So, here, essentially, the lot list is everything down here on the bottom floor. It's going to exclude the pier area over here, and it's going to exclude the Ducal Castle. And I'll just make those two things in and of themselves. The castle will be its own right up, because I feel like the castle, in my opinion, is going to be like an entire encounter little story in and of itself, separate from the town. Now there will be things that will connect the two, clues in the city and people who know information and things, people who've been around for a long time, or have like certain information passed down, say. So we're gonna have to keep an ear out for, you know, some of those bits, and I feel like when we go and make the Ducal Castle storyline a bit more complete, we will have a bit easier time. Most things you'll see, I try to do things. It's a similar concept for like when I do map building and stuff. You know, do phases and layers. Don't try and do everything all at once, because it's really hard to. So set up your foundation, get all your building pieces, and then start putting these pieces together and seeing how they fit. So yeah. So what we have is... How do I want to organize these right now? I have them organized just in numerical order, which I guess is fine. And just start at the top and start working my way down. Delphin's Tower, number 5. The Yellow Knife of Ondabarl. House of Government. So Delphin's a very important character, so I think this is a good place to start by using our wiki. Our Forgotten Realms wiki. Which, like, yo, if you're a home brewer, get on freaking Forgotten Realms fandom. It is so fun. It's just fun. I won't even say it's good, because, like, it is good, and that's awesome, but we like fun more here. And, like, ready? Delphin Underbarrel. Look at this. So, like, a lot of these people are actual figures from lore that exist. Delphin Underbarrel was the greatest wizard of Daggerford and a teacher of the Sorcellers Encapsulate, which is a library / wizard and magic school, which I believe is located... Where are you? There it is. Building 86, the Sorceller. Building 86 is over here. So we now know that Delphin runs a library and a wizard, a magic school of training here at Building 86, which is actually, it's right over here, and there's a lot of militant buildings over here in this district. But also his house, his wizard tower, is building number 5. So these are things that I'm going to... This is pretty much what I'm going to do piece by piece. And if there isn't a Delphin in one tower, then I just make a person, you know, and make them exist. So, let's see. Delphin Yellowknife was a human male with a well-groomed and fashionably styled facial hair with rich looking robes, betrayed his vocation as a wizard. Could be deemed a happy-go-lucky individual who was a friendly and gladly showed visitors around his beloved guild. Around 1370. Looks very young here, though. They're human, too. Sujit, the imp, was Delphin's close friend and familiar ever since he rescued the little creature from its cruel master Mugdor, Delphin's bitter nemesis. Well, let's just see who Mugdor is quick. Arch nemesis Delphin, from Daggerford and the former master of... Yeah. I just want to see if he actually was from Daggerford and if it's something I need to. Mugdor offered a hefty sum of coin to Eric the Finn, a thief from Daggerford, in exchange for capturing the Sujit. Not much of Mugdor's history was known, apart from the fact that he hailed from the ice plains of Adabalan. At some point, he was the master of the Sujit, the imp. Eventually, the imp was rescued from servitude by Delphin Yellowknife Underbarrel and taken to his care. Okay, so Delphin went and took and rescued the imp from him. Alright, that's awesome. So there's some play around 1370 with Mugdor. And he set up a music box chest in an alley. Sure the imp could hear it. Suji investigated the music and became trapped in the chest. However, Eric managed to stop the container into Delambir River, losing his heft bounty He sought help to recover the lost chest, recruiting the hero at Daggerford without revealing the chest's contents. The hero eventually recovered the missing container, and realizing that Delphin's fiend was inside, returned it to the wizard. Delphin Yellowknife conceded the renage plot of his arch genesis and nemesis, and gave the hero a chest with a surprise inside to be returned to Mugdar. When Suji's old master opened the chest, he awakened a demi-leech, Extelamix, who was trapped in an orb in the years past. Aggravated over his imprisonment, Extelamix blasted Mugdar with a deadly magic, seemingly killing him. Neverwinter Nights, Darkness over Daggerford. So that's a storyline. So then there's a lot of Daggerford video game stuff content that comes from Neverwinter, etc. And a lot of my lore is being pulled from that, and I love that. It's just backstory. So like on this, like this is a story that I will be able to use and tell. So that's all this is for me. Is just some backstory for Delphin, so that he can have some more scripts to talk about. And I can maybe dig into some of his history if the players begin getting closer with that character. So we're going to take this link. I'm going to throw this link in here for Delphin. Let's see, Sorcerers Encapsulate was the local guild and school compromised those spellcasters who lived in the town of Daggerford. The guild regulated the magic trade within Daggerford. They only allowed spellcasters of a similar level of expertise and knowledge to trade with one another for the safety of its more novice members. The guild hall was located in Daggerford, in the caravan corridor near the gate. 3-story building with its main hall and entrance located up the stairs on the 2nd floor. The main hall was decorated with a huge, majestic circle of magic that glimmer and radiate arcane energy. The library was located on the 1st floor of the guild hall and was accessible via stairwell from the main hall, yada yada yada. Arcane and Divine were allowed to join the guild. Okay, so it's a mix. It's a blend. We like that. Senior Elf Wizard. So, let's think. Did I write down the year, my year of starting? I believe I'm going 1500. I believe I'm going about like 1500. Let's get some coffee in my life. We'll have, here we are. Some old notes on my map making, which I can't wait to get back on that. Really miss creating maps. It's the part of world building that I honestly love the most. Daggerford, Vamp Thog's inspiration. This was just like spitballs. This is where I actually got some significant notes. I believe it's 1500. So old. So Delphin is gonna be really old. We're talking old. We're talking... I'm talking a Google search. Oh, perfect. What is this from? February 10. It's from Reddit. Worldbuilding. Am I rolls here? So this is just this person's opinion. Nothing there that's actually legitimate for me. What if I put D&D in here? Oh, there we go. You can put 5e. Let's see. Just a chat GBT. Here we go. This is from DTM. Yeah, I know it's justifiable. I'm just looking for any type of... Very dignified beards. Yeah, maybe it's the beard that gives them the extra life. You only can... Specifically says it doesn't extend a creature's lifespan, it just reduces the outward age. So by the book, there's only one reliable method for a wizard to extend their life, and it involves an 8th level spell, 2,000 gold, initial deposit, and 1,000 diamond. I'd save extended lifespan until a wizard is high tier 3 range power wise. If longevity was easy, wouldn't make things such a make it deals. It's just scaling nonsense. What's the epic boon of immortality? Like, Homeboard might have this. And we're gonna go look up Clone, too. I don't mind spending a bit more time on Delphin, because he's gonna be, like, one of the main pillars of the story. You stop aging, you're immune to any effect that would age you, and you can't die from old age. Okay. I've used clone before. Well, let's just reread. So, this clone forms inside a sealed vessel and grows to full size and maturity. After, you can choose to have the clone be a younger version of the same creature. It remains inert and endures indefinitely as long as it's a vessel. At any time after the clone matures, if the original creature dies, soul transfers to the clone, provided that the soul is free and willing to return. So yeah, it could be clone or invulnerability. Let's pick. I think clone's better. Components, a diamond. Okay. So, yeah. So maybe we could do something cool with him. So, enchantment magic. They just look healthy and young, right? But they use the clone to keep themselves alive and prop their life past where it should. So when they die of old age, they come back. But they perpetually look young because of that. And people just assume it's because they're a magic user. And we'll say there will be a handful of other people with long life, like elves, etc., in the city that might have relations with him, but apart from this outward appearance, everything but their pinky is going to be perfect. Because the pinky is the 1-inch cube of flesh that they use for the... Right? Would that be the least, but like still a thing? Not their toes. I guess it could be a toe. I like the finger because it's like a clue. So, happy-go-lucky. Wise and caring. I guess I could go... well-groomed. Man, it's gorgeous outside. Well-groomed and fashionably styled hair. Rich Hand, pinky, nub, parentheses, clone. Okay. What's going on there? Building 6. Oh, the castle. We'll skip the castle. We're doing the castle as one place. Moonglow Tower. That's definitely got a thing. Morning glow. Okay. Copy. Get my ice. I guess it shouldn't be Moonglow because that's going to be misnomer, as it is the Temple of Lathander, which I believe is like a holier god of light. So let's go back. Let's read things that are important. Temple in Daggerford. Who's a Montar? Is the Netherese Solar deity of order. A son-in-law in time. He was viewed as a harsh but fair deity, agreed by many rulers, soldiers, and powerful wizards in ancient Netheril. Where is Netheril? It was eventually claimed, following the spell plague, that Lathander, the Faerunian god of sun, was an aspect of the long dormant Amun-Tur. By the year of the Aegis One, 1479 DR, Amun-Tur was worshipped both as Lathander and by his own name. Oh, okay. They're the same thing. So I guess that could be the personality, right? Them just kind of advertising the change in the difference from Lathander to Amun-Tur. Not far from the Happy Cow Inn. Under the title of Dawnbringer, as of 479, the temple was under the care of Luke Sunbright. So this is our new caretaker. Luke Sunbright was a priest of Lathander. Luke led the worship of Lathander at the Morningglow Tower due to the old regional traditions, but he Additionally, had the temple catered to the followers of Amantar as well. Luke additionally served as a teacher for adventuring clerics within the Daggerford region. The handsome man in his prime with golden hair and a full beard. He was always seen dressed in gold and rose robes and wearing a fine golden circlet around his head. As a self-important and blustery individual, he was very conscious about class differences and always dismissed farmers and merchants from the tower if wealthier folk needed it. Ooh. Ooh. Interesting, interesting, interesting. We like it. But this is it! Oh, dude, why do they always do this? It's those those lawful fucks. I like this, dude. Luke Sunbright's a cool character. Cool character to work with. Let's see. Morning Glow Tower, Faith, Lathander. Luke Sunbright. Temple to Lathander and Amuntor. Self-important and blustery individual. Classist. Snob. And it was white and red, I believe. Always seen dressed in a gold and rose robe and wearing a fine gold. Okay. I'm getting somewhere. Luke Sunbright. So yeah, essentially just trying to nail out the leads. I guess this is a good place to start. I'm already in a direction already, which is like the leaders of the house. So like the leader of that temple, the leader of the mage, sorcerer, encapsulate. So like the top person in each place should be, in my opinion, I guess the first person that I write and create, and just make sure, and then underneath them, if I feel they need like an assistant or a right hand man, right? Then I'll add that. I think Delphin definitely would have several assistants. Luke, I feel like would have other people to do things for him, but would take care of things mostly himself. So there you'd talk to Luke a lot, as they were the priest and the runner of that house. However, Delphin, I feel like there would be a few layers for you to go through to get an audience with him. He's a very busy and a prestigious man, and just like not every level 3 adventurer in the city is going to be get a council with them. You have to do something of importance or show that you are capable in a sense. Or maybe even just work your way up through the sorcerer's encapsulate, right? If you have a wizard that wants to spend a lot of time studying, then that could eventually, actually, that's a really, really good idea. If we have someone that spends a lot of time studying and such, I can send them different bits of information, have them find different books and stuff from the history, but then eventually have that be a pathway for you to get an audience with Delphin. And perhaps like maybe one of the librarians or something like in the encapsulate could give mention upon being pressed in conversation that well, it's not everyone that gets an audience with Delphin Yellowknife. Well, there was Yaskir. He he was quite the studious individual, you see. Managed to read through all of our texts and scripts, and upon special request was invited to sit with Delphin. Something along those lines, I don't know. Might think upon it. Think upon it a little bit more. Delphin's important for the story because Delphin is what connects the players to the ducal castle and the big storyline that'll connect those two. So it's a very important character for me in my storytelling elements. And that's largely just because they've been alive long enough to see the transition of power. They've been alive long enough to see the line of dukes end and to see a new duke sat upon the throne, and then also would be here long enough to see that, well, that probably isn't one of those duke's sisters now, is it? That seems like somebody different, somebody devilish and demonish, right? And then maybe, again, like one of those reasons why you could get an audience or a seat with Delphin would be just the party has showed superior skill and in the city and aiding and quelling certain bad things, right? And so the wizard Delphin himself is going to have like a little like agenda where he's looking for somebody that he can trust and that can actually do this, and he can send somebody in there and give away this information that he's been, because like I feel like he's kind of been curious about it. He has an idea, he has a hunch. He could never go exploring for more information because that would give away his autonomy and agency in the city, right? Like his willful naivety gives him a better chance at maybe dealing with this because it keeps him in power and it keeps him moving pieces up on like up in the world of power plays, right? So he would need somebody else to kind of do this for him, but he wouldn't want just anybody to do that. Oh, no, you haven't missed much at all. We've literally made it, Juan, we've made it from number 5 to number 7. I've done 2 things. I got information from Delphin, which I was just kind of rambling on how that's going to be a bigger story, because I need to make that a much bigger character. But I've got a second character, Luke Sunbright, who is going to be the head priest of the Temple of Lathander, which is also the temple to Amantar, which is the same thing. They're the same thing. Those are 2 of the same gods that are the same god. Yeah, so right here we're actually, I think we've made it to a fun part here, where we're at the stables, and well, we need somebody to run the stables. And what do we want to do? So if you had any ideas, Juan, if you had like an idea, this is definitely where like I can open it up to everybody else to kind of help me build Daggerford, because it really like doesn't matter who this person is. It could be a centaur named Carl, but please don't, that's not what it's gonna be. But you know what I mean? Like I feel like because I don't need a lot of story for this, we'll just do probably a head person that like runs the front desk and owns the stable, and then like a stable hand who just helps and is like always running back and forth. And we'll just give a little no, don't you fucking start. No, we're not putting a centaur in the goddamn stable. That's fucking weird. No, I'm not making a literal horse girl. No. This is a serious campaign. I'm dead. So let's see here. I guess. Oh, you know what? Actually might be good for this. I can go steal somebody else's list. Go to Peanuts RPG. Should have already had this downloaded. What the fuck? Oh, I do. It's down there. Great. Just download the same file 3 times. Yes, but that's like, it's like slapstick. It's like in your face. It's like, it's too much. It's too much. And also, I mean, I'm gonna go out there and personally, I mean, like centaurs in lore are not necessarily creatures that live and abide in city settings. So I'm not saying that there can't be centaurs in city settings. I'm just saying there would need to be a reason for that, right? Like normally the centaurs are like a mystical creature that live in forests, and they prefer seclusion because they live life a bit differently. Similar like druids, how druids kind of tend to stray away from settlement and modernization, right? And then like also like you're a half horse. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense now. I'm talking myself into it. You'd be very good at talking to the horses and managing horses if you were half horse. You'd understand horse anatomy. You'd be fluent in horse. You'd be like very akin, like you could be like, hey brother, like we're running a business together, man. Like this is like, I'll talk to the humans because I got a human half, and well you just do horse stuff because you got 2 horse halves. But like together we work together. Like man, fuck you, Juan. Damn it. Maybe it's a centaur that runs this place. Did you just make a scooping noise? Oh, dude, I need to. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause because I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know. I need some coffee before I make a decision here. And I need to look at a map, too. If I look at a map, I might be able to justify this a bit more. Because the whole point of this storyline that I'm creating is dragon fire. Is Daggerford scorned by dragon fire? So, yeah, you're totally right. Also, it would be all the quirkiness that, like, you need. It's, like, the right touch. It's just enough magic, right? And, like, nothing else. Just make him a very serious person. And, honestly, like, so on the story I was going to create, so the dragon's fire is scoring, you know, Daggerford and the lands surrounding. So if I take a look at a map, find a nearby forest area that also is north, provided it's north, because that's the direction the dragon flew. Well, maybe the centaur did live in the woods, in the traditional centaur lifestyle. Had a family and had a whole life. And then the dragon that got released from Daggerford reaped flames across the forest and scattered his family, or killed his family and scattered his tribes. And they all had to kind of, you know, there was only a handful of them left. So they all had to seek refuge in their own way. And he decided to befriend some horses in the nearby area. You know, dude needed a job. So, like, he did what he does best. He was like, talk to horses best. Let me go find some horses. Dragon-induced displacement, yes. Like, it's the theme of the story, right? So, like, quite literally, like, he could be in there, like, oh, frickin' Carnasil, the dragon, killed my home, you know? It's a character that has history based in the story that I want these characters to be living in, right? The return from the Dragonfire, the return from destruction, like how Daggerford kind of comes back to grace. But yeah, very that, like, had to pay the bills, had to eat, had to, you know, survive, and, like, was one of, like, maybe 5 or 6 centaurs that lived. And yeah, I've 100% sold myself on this. It's a centaur. It's a fucking centaur that runs the stables. Because I love this idea. It's actually really fucking cool. It's very D&D. It's very Dungeons and Dragons. You know, like, medieval. I think that's my issue when I DM, or something that I'm trying to get better at, is, like, adding the magic. I'm very medieval. I watch History Channel. I was a big, like, history buff. You know, I'm big into, like, Roman and medieval cultures and architecture and Greek structures and Mesopotamia and all that shit, right? Big History Channel buff. So, like, I feel like a lot of the times I'm, like, very medieval on things. And, you know, like, that's not always what's needed for D&D. Because D&D is fantasy medieval, it's magic medieval, it's fae medieval, right? I'm all magic except for civilization, right? So it's like, we all have our strengths, we all have you know, our pros and our cons, and I think, you know, our games end up inevitably looking like some type of version of that. But that's not to say that you can't change what you want, you know. So this is what I've been working on, is trying to get a little bit more style, a little bit more fun magic flair. And damn it all, the centaur was the right idea. Now the question is what is their name going to be? And you know what? I think we will go. We'll go with a soft spoken feminine with should I just make Lilia? Because I love the headcanon of Lilia. She's literally the cutest. Oh, you can talk like this because my name's Lilia. And then, what do we roll for there? Maybe a mouse folk, just cuz. She gets a little mouse folk stable hand. Keep it fun. Maybe something from the forest, her friend from the forest. I honestly, low-key, really want to play a mousefolk character, because the semi-shot that I'm doing on Friday, there's a character in it that plays a starry druid mousekin named Rikiki, and they have like this like blue robe with like a bunch of astrology signs on it, just like stars and stuff, and just a staff. And they're just like a druid of the stars, man. It's like it's a really cool. I just get like field mouse vibes, like out in the prairie, just like looking at the skies like all day and night, because you know there's no trees around, but you're such a small creature as you look up at the world so big. Like, yeah, very that. But yeah, it's a really cool concept for a character, and Starry Druid is OP. And mouse folk. Stable hand. And I guess maybe that can be the gimmick, because like the first thing I ask is like, how is any of this work gonna get done? It's overpowered. How's any of this work gonna get done though, right? If you're a mouse folk, you're tiny. What are you gonna do? Well, you're gonna use magic, and then you're just gonna be like, hey horse, your food's over here, your water's over there, we're going for a walk, we're doing that and this. So this is a magical mouse who uses magic to aid themselves in the stable, and then also just speaks with animals. And we gotta go think of some names. Because I'm not actually going to name them Lilia. But they will be the inspiration for the voice. Oh, excuse me. Thadustus. Antonia. Felona, Nemania, Aston, Adobe, Indice, Helestra. I don't like these names. Mirafe. Ooh, I kind of like Mirafe. What do you think about that one? You like Aston? I don't like Aston. It sounds too modern. Like, that's like literally like a name people name themselves this era, you know? Because they got that wagon. Stop it. She's a centaur. Of course she's got that thick booty. Like, come on. What about Mirafe? Jail. Ow! Ow! Just smashed my knee. But also jail. Alright. Why? Of Nova? Don't get too attached to names of Nova? What do you mean? What are you getting on about? Oh no, that's fine. Oh, so this is actually a good point. Um, this is something that I. That's okay. This is something that I am trying to solve as a dungeon master, which is by creating an intimate city setting, such as Daggerford, where the players will spend close to a year and 20 levels of gameplay inside the city, or at least 15 to 20, depending on what they want to do. So they will frequent the stable frequently, and you see this entire Excel sheet that I'm making. The entire point behind that is so that I have a very firm list of characters and firm list of notes to go with the character. So if they go in there and they say, hey, like, we're gonna take these horses from you and we'll do it on loan for 200 gold pieces, and like they just forget about it, like I'm gonna have a note there that says Mirafe is coming to collect them debts, like, you know, like, so it's like, yeah, it's gonna be entire. This isn't a one shot. This is like an entire full blown campaign, and one of the things that I'm kind of tasking myself with or challenging myself with is trying to create a setting and a mechanic, a storytelling mechanic that supports NPCs becoming more than just, like you said, a wallflower, a post-it note that's lost in the wind, you know, people that they actually like and care about and have feelings for, not romantically, because I don't like doing romantic role play, but like, you know, relationships with, you know, like they can feel for the centaur that got displaced by the dragon's fire, because they're all kids who grew up in a town that just got torched by dragon fire, you know, so they'll have something in common right there and then, you know. And if they really like this person and want them to become more of a character, then all right, cool. Maybe Rikiki runs the stable and Mirafe, you know, comes out and joins them in their crusade against whatever the hell they want to do. I mean, I don't know what these players want to do, but I want to give these players essentially levels 1 to 20 in as much consistent story and role playing that can exist with a D&D game, right? So that's the challenge. That's the goal, at least. need to Schmine lobby. Okay. All right. So yeah, we need to look at a map. Map of Daggerford. We used to have a map that I used to use. I wish I could get it back. This map. It got shut down. It's so sad. Doodly doo doo doo. Check out this world map in Anvil. This is a bit closer to what we're looking for. Here's Faerun. But this is what I don't like about this, is you can't zoom in on it. So like, alright, cool, yeah, it works. But I can't actually see any of the names of anything. So what's that forest called right there? I know I have the Misty Forest to the side, but I know that's not... That is not north. That is east. Maybe just try our deep forest. There we go. Yo, so this is what I'm saying, man. Like, Forgotten Realms wiki is broken. It's like OP broken. Like, a few miles east of Waterdeep. Doric, Truth, and the Flotion. Is this the forest? Relatively small but thick. Yeah, that's totally it. Our deep forest, in order to know the forest as opposed to the realm that once encompassed a large part of the Sword Coast. Forest is a few miles deep, east of Waterdeep. Clandestine lovers and runaways. The interior of our deep forest contained many ridges and steep gullies that were hidden beneath thick vines, dense shrubbery, and cloaking mists that presented a danger to casual travelers. In addition, tunnels, cellars, and vaults constructed by dwarves during a time of alliance became pitfalls centuries later. The forest was once much bigger than the extent shown. All the way to the Misty Forest and ended in Trollbark Forest. Wow, that's the entirety of Daggerford. Oh, well, no way. During the retreat begun in the year of Moonfall, the elves left behind many Baelnorn and Green Warder guardians to protect the tombs of their ancestors. About a decade before the War of the Silver Marches, the inhabitants of the neighboring village of Nightstone, led by Dreslin, hunting expeditions into the forest and attempt to re-establish the hunting lodge held there by the house of Nandar 2 centuries earlier. These incursions infuriated the few remaining elves. The conflict escalated until the elves assaulted Nightstone. And then peace was made. They pledged never to make expeditions again. She kept that promise until her death 1 year later when the Cloud Giants attacked Nightstone. Floating towers have been observed above Ardy Forest over a good portion of its history. Mages and Cloud Giants, but the owners rarely revealed themselves. Bards spun yarns of ships from other worlds were also tavern favorites. The archway was a one-way portal to the Crystal Labyrinth in Undermountain. Oh, that could be fun. This is where the Flotian Estates are. A lightly wooded expanse of land that bordered the forest proper. So, if they're just... I guess the story could really be whatever I want it to be, so let's just make it. Soft-spoken, gentle, and friendly. What do they look like? I'm thinking like some like pink hair. Ink. Pink hair, green eyes. Chestnut coat. I guess we just leave it there until we actually create a character. Mirfe and oh, my generator doesn't have any names. Esger. Like that. We're going with that. Mirfe and Esger. They'll both be druids. Fled the our deep forest amidst the series of for events. Following the gathering the survivors of Carnicel's destruction, the pair sought refuge and work in Daggerford. Comma, caring for animals. And their profession, they're like a horse liaison almost. No, not like in... Well, that's what they're speaking for the horses. Like, this way, like, the horses have, like, agency in their own service, right? Like, the horses are like a taxi service, right? But, like, the horses have feelings, and they have wants, and they have dreams, okay? And those dreams need to be realized. And the centaur and mouse druid combo, who can speak to animals and care for the animals, will ensure that they are being respected and cared for in a manner that suits them and is financially beneficial to all parties. Deputy Chief Liaison. Listen, I'm the Dungeon Meowsta, okay? There's no stopping this wagon once it gets going. Mikitan Shipyard. I guess we should name their establishment. No, maybe it just doesn't have a name. More druid-like. I was gonna say, maybe they have last names, but I'm like, their last names would probably be like their druid circles, which don't exist anymore, so they don't care for them anymore. Alright, let's see if Mikitan... Let's put Mikitan up in here. Mikitan Shipyards! Man, dude. And whatever advertising that is. The Mikitan Shipyards was a large compound found in the city of Daggerford in western Heartlands. The shipyards were located in southern Daggerford near the river gate, along the road wall. Several large structures. Owner Mikitan. Successful businessman inhabiting the city of Daggerford. Own the shipyards. Okay. Mikitan. The proximity of Mikitan's business to the river. Can we go back and look at a map? There we go. Dellenbeer. Yeah, where's Hill Road? The high road. Mikitan is number 9 on my map. Oh, it's that big ass building. Okay, what else? Did y'all see it? It's this one down here. This big number 9. Just inside the walls. Nautical supplies. Decoran, where's Decoran? 31. So this is important because these two are rivals. Decoran's the broke bitch. Up the road. Ah! Okay, cool. But Decoran got destroyed. Mikitan did not get destroyed. Okay, so that's the story, man. Dude was already successful. Now he's really successful. Now he has a corner on the market. Now I don't even know how many other people are in competition with him. We'll see. But it's going to be Mikitan's son. So is Mikitan... Dude was a level 4 fighter. Chaotic good. Hey, look at that. But dude had a family. Dude has heirs. And... well, I mean, maybe dude didn't have family. Maybe dude adopted somebody to be his heir. There's no mention here of a wife. And maybe that's a cool story. Maybe the dude is a very individual type person because they're so caught up in their money and their work and their business, they never found time to date, and or had several wives that inevitably left them or cheated on them or ran away because they were just like, this dude just doesn't care for me at all. But then in his age decided he still needed an heir, so just adopted somebody, chose a kid to adopt, and then like that became the person they doted on, and it's just the two of them. It's not a bad idea. There's gonna be plenty of time for family making later in the. And maybe, yeah, just like the two of them can be like wicked snobs. Just super snobby. And this adopted kid just like took on all this snobbery with them. Because in life there's winners and losers, and if you're not chose to be the winner, well then of course that means you've been chosen to be the loser. And well, Mikatan chose you to be a winner, so that puts you on the winning side, and then is going to groom you into thinking the same way that he thinks about everything. But possibly, this could be room for some roleplay. If characters get very close with Mikatan's successor, then maybe there could be a knife they could draw in on that and find a kinder side. They could appeal to the adopted nature of Mikatan's successor to get them to do something, for the better, for the good. And I think that's kind of awesome because I want to put a crack in the seams of the biggest financial boat hand in Daggerford, right? So if there ever comes a story point where we need the biggest contender of ships to do something for us, maybe for the betterment of Daggerford, then they could appeal to his better nature. Okay, so what's this dude's name? Humans. We'll just do some humans here. Let's leave this map up. La-da-dum-da-dum. Marth, Damu, Gorins, Brandis, Young, Marth, Mikatan, Durkad. That's something I like to do. If I already have half a name, I'll like keep clicking until I find a name that already has. That doesn't work. So Mikatan is my name, so I'm looking for a last name that starts with an M. Because a lot of times, like with words in vernaculars, like Morning Hall and Mikatan sound the same. So if the first name sounds good with Tardum Morning Hall, Tardum Mikatan already kind of works. Tardum? I don't like Tardum though. Marbin, too many M's. Diromon? Diromon, Mikatan. No. Agnuth, Mikatan. Agnuth. I like that. Agnuth, Mikatan. 10. Adopted by dude wasn't a lord. By the late Mikatan. Adopted by... Let's do Sir Mikatan. And raised to be a cutthroat man, I can't spell sometimes. That cannot be satiated. So, a human businessman who was adopted by Sir Mikatan and raised to be a cutthroat negotiator. As an only child, he had everything he could dream of, and as an adult, has tastes that cannot be satisfied. What do they look like? A cold, calculated, and cruel. Cold, calculated, and cruel. Clean cut. And suit and blazer, noticeably pressed. Is a cold, calculated, and cruel individual who is clean-cut and elegantly dressed in a suit and blazer, noticeably ironed and pressed. We hate him. Definitely an antagonist. The Waterman's Circle. Yeah, Waterman's Circle was the guild hall for ferrymen and other watermen in the city of Daggerford and da-da-da. Located in the Couth Alley in the southern... It was one of the larger buildings found along the Couth Alley. Let me see who else is in business. I mean, I think it might just be... I mean, maybe that could be the story. Maybe nobody likes the Mickatans because they're such pompous assholes. And they have the biggest and largest business just because of, like, geographical reasons. And maybe some unsavory decisions made, you know, that are one-sided, right? Under the table deals. And Decaran, their biggest rival, the competition, was the sitting Waterman's Circle Guild leader, and maybe had been voted in for another term. And just as that happened, you know, like another month into their new service, like the Dragonfire came, destroyed the city, and the interim guild leader would be, I guess, Mickatan, I'm thinking? Agnuth? But maybe we'll see what else is out there for options. I guess maybe we'll skip Waterman's Circle for a bit. Let's just see where it is though. 16. So every time I glance at a building, I'm just trying to glance also at where it is, where it exists. So like every time I do world building in Daggerford, my brain itself gets a bit more accustomed to where everything is and where it sits. And after a good amount of running this and building this and running this, I should have a good amount of residual knowledge just to pull from, like Couth Alley, which is down right here. So that way I can just be, you know, in the role play, in the moment, say, oh, you know, like the adversary that you had been chasing slipped down Couth Alley and ducked behind the Waterman's Circle building, and, you know, be able to just like say that on the fly and not actually have to go and look up things, and and you know, and I feel like for me that's really going to be the task of having a bigger and larger pool of information, residual lore to pull from, so that I can hand that out on the fly. But for my players, as I was saying earlier, you know, that's kind of my goal, is for them to eventually be like, oh, well, if we set up a roadblock on the end of Couth Alley, before we do, you know, like, and like being able to use and pull out those own titles themselves. Oh, look at that. Oh, welcome everybody for the raid. Thanks, Killer Bits. Oh, there we are. Welcome everybody. We're just kind of in the midst of a Daggerford world build. We're doing names and stuff today, so I just finished placing a name to the Mickatan Shipyards, which is the number 9 building here. How you doing, Killer Bits? Thanks for the raid, dog. And we were discussing who is going to be kind of the guild leader for the Waterman Circle. Because it needs to exist. It needs to be somewhere. But I guess it was a building that's destroyed, so I was just kind of reminiscing there. We can just keep going down the list here. Ramusio. Pretty far. I'd say I've been thinking about Daggerford since the beginning of the summer, and I started doing maps and stuff in a different program. I was just doing them in GIMP, like Photoshop, which actually I could show you all that map, because I still use it. Which is one thing, like, if you make something, don't throw it away, like, still use it. So, like, this was the map that I was going to be using for kind of like my go-to map, but then I've started using Dungeon Alchemist as a map creating tool, and you'll see a lot of my previous streams are map creating content. It's what I prefer to do, but kind of switching the schedule up here in December, things get a little bit clunky with the family life. But so I kind of, it was a picture that I found, which is an actual, yeah, recycle everything, right? So I found this, it was a little blurry, so I took the time to kind of cut it and get these really crisp lines so that it could maybe be used for, you know, a map that we played with. And then I decided that this is just going to be the backdrop of this is like the hub for when I start my campaign. So like while everybody's filling in their seats and getting their cameras set up, we can put quests, timers here, stuff that's important for our story that we're telling. And then, I mean, even if they wanted to go as far as, you know, put markers on the map and kind of say, like, boom, like, you know, like this building is, like, we're going to buy this building and we're going to name it, and that's our tavern, you know, so this will kind of change and be our note marker for the map. But I plan to make an entire 3D rendition of this in Dungeon Alchemist. They're releasing their new update in January-ish. No quotes on that time frame because, you know, developer problems, but I'll be able to do multi-floors, and I'll have a lot more ability. And essentially I'll be pulling my party through a 3D version of this city is the goal. I highly, highly recommend Dungeon Alchemist. If you're a super nerd and you like tweaking things a lot and you really have a specific vision in mind, and you'll die on that hill for that vision, Dungeon Alchemist is the place for you. And conversely, if you just want a quick map of a very simple and straightforward crypt or mausoleum or house or tavern or room, Dungeon Alchemist is definitely the place for you. You can spend like 30 minutes and prep an entire battle map for your party, and it can mostly be auto-generated, and then you can even tweak in some differences. It's definitely, in my opinion, the best program that I've seen so far. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, a lot of times when you're a dungeon master, you take the tools you need, right? So if you don't need something and it doesn't serve you, it's just wasting your time. So let's see here. We'll table the Waterman Circle for later. Ramusio is going to be... Let me see here. I want to do some RNG for my, I want to do some RNG for my races. Because we like rolling dice. One of my previous episodes, you'll see that I rolled some dice for kind of just like story creation on, So I guess like going back a couple episodes, Daggerford, if you don't know, had a dragon by the name of Carnasil wreak havoc upon the city and threw flame upon the town. And I didn't want to just say, oh, like, all these buildings die. So, just roll some dice. Roll some quick dice. So it's like, I like always, like, whenever you can put an RNG factor in, put it in. But, I mean, back to those, like, tools not serving you. If RNG doesn't serve you in the moment, don't use it, right? Throw it away. A D40. A 20. Which will be a Goliath. Alright. So, Ramusio is going to be a Goliath. Goliath name gen. Thanks, Killer Bits. Enjoy your grub. Oh my long names. Goliaths have 3 names. They start their lives with a first name and a clan name, but once they've come of age, a third name is given related to his most impressive deed thus far. His name can change throughout life, both better and for worse. What's something that this person could have done? And where do they live? They live down here by the seaside. So, Ramusio is a naval-bearing family. Perhaps they are a family of Goliaths that, due to their large stature and strength, they're very good at working on boats and manning sails and being a deckhand, if you will. So it's like a good name we could give for for Goliath here. And if anybody has any ideas, as I said earlier, I am open in creation mode. I was previously sold on a centaur as my stable master. So, you got a good idea for the Goliath. Like, let's hear it. Howdy, Aster. Nice to meet you. And yeah, good morning. Meech, I'm also a big family person. Huge fantasy nerd and buff. It's been a growing passion for me as I've gotten into my later years. If you're familiar, once the baby goes to sleep, right, that's when I get free time as a dad, and it's kind of hard to have hobbies at 8 p.m. at night. But it's really easy to get a D&D party together, especially on Discord these days. So it's kind of been my outlet for social activity, fun, escapism, you name it. But also it's been a huge passion of mine ever since a kid. I've been playing D&D for such a long time. Right? And I would say something that's changed for me kind of recently is when I first was introduced to the game, it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and it was very dice rolly, dungeon crawly, check for traps, have a fight, yada yada, rinse repeat. which is by all means definitely a component of Dungeons & Dragons that I do like. But more recently, I've been with a group of friends over at the Lore Masters Guild on Discord, and I realized that I really, really love roleplay. And the more rich and grand we can make our roleplay, the better that game's gonna feel. The harder that headcanon's gonna stay in your head all week long, and the more you want to kind of get back to the table. So it's my new passion, and I have some roots in acting and musical theater and such, and I think that's probably why it's been hitting home for me so well, because it's like it's getting me back to that acting vibe. But yeah, I mean, just like the rush you feel when you're in the moment of a role play and you have no idea what you're gonna do, and it's like a new scene, and you just have to take a direction and go with it and hope your party mates join in and keep that improv ball rolling down the hill. Like, it's invigorating, to say the least. Let's see here. So yeah, I love that what you said there, like helping players discover it, right? And I also think that it's not just the dungeon master that can help with that. As a player and dungeon master, I often find myself like poking the question and like egging people on to get like an answer or get their character to say something about themselves, like intentionally turning the camera at them, but in a very natural way. I feel like as the DM, sometimes it can come off as unnatural if you do it too much, but as a player, you know, if I'm a party member, it's very honest of me to be like, yo, where are you from? And what are you about? Like, what are your motives, kid? Because we're going to be fighting life and death next to each other for the next couple weeks. 50 points for Gryffindor. I think if, honestly, I started doing it more, or I started doing it, I think, after I started becoming a DM, because I was able to see both sides of the coin. And I'm definitely a huge proponent in playing both sides of the coin. DMs should play so they know what it's like to be a player, and players should DM so they know what it's like to be a DM. And then, you know, whichever one you enjoy more, do it. But I think everybody should try either side. So Ramusio. Boat hand. What's something they could have done on a boat? Something they could have done on a boat. Let's go back to Goliath names. Tribe Walker, Night Guard, Dream Guard, Root Maker, Dear Friend. Need something that has something to do with boating. Rain Leader? Storm Leader? Ramusio's Storm Leader. Maybe they're a ship captain. Maybe they have their own ship. Yeah. Okay, here we go. See, we just build the story bit by bit. Ramusio, Storm Leader. For about a year and a half, but it fell apart. Yeah, it's tough, and it's like, it's the reality. Like, all good parties will have to come to an end. Like, I just had a 2-year party that it came to an end, and like the DM didn't want to admit it, and like everybody was like fighting to keep it, and I'm just like over here just like it's okay, like we'll come back around once our schedules kind of realign. But it's tough, you know, like real life stuff happens. And honestly, if you have a party that's good, you will run into those problems, because life is ever changing, and you know, it's hard to just have the same schedule all week long. Like my D&D schedule changes like one every year or so, just to kind of keep it fresh and to replace, you know, stragglers. And so yeah, it's the sad part but true part. And a lot of times that reason is work, right? They have 3 names. So, Storm Leader... Maybe Ramusio could be their first name. And maybe they could be like... Nice, there you go. That's kind of, I'm in that, like, that same kind of, time frame. Where, like, around January and leading on, I'll be kind of out looking for people for this campaign right here that I'm preparing for. Give myself about a month to catch up and do some map prep. But the cool thing about, you know, like, when you're a dungeon master and, like, I have, like, a very large scale project here that I'm preparing for, right? But, like, the players are going to have to step through it one by one, right? They have to go through all the levels, and I have to reward them all the pieces to let them see the rest of the story. So, like, a lot of the story I can just table until, like, the second half of the year, because they're not even going to be of level to get there yet, right? Really, the only things I need, I wrote it down. The only things I need for Tier 1 play is the Town Guard and some rival gangs. So that means I need the training area, the castle walls, and a good handful of alleyways that they can play around in. You know, I don't have to have the entire city done. I don't have to have every lot filled. So, I mean, ChatGPT can be really, really helpful. And I guess, you know, I was talking to Killer Bits a little bit earlier. You know, Dungeon Alchemist has a lot of auto-generated features that can be really useful and helpful for a dungeon master. You know, if you just need an indiscriminate hallway for a side quest for one fight, then, yeah, you don't need to put a lot of work into that map. And it could be pretty straightforward, right? And, like, the same thing goes for, like, ChatGPT. Like, if you know, just need, like, an indiscriminate speech or a very descript, kind of, like, person, description, right? ChatGPT can be really well at filling in those blanks. And then you can always go back, like you would in Dungeon Alchemist, and cater and curate the auto-gen to how you want it. I've yet to kind of experience working anything through ChatGPT, but I definitely know a couple of my friends have played around with it quite a bit. Oh, I'm looking for a third name for this dude. What's his... So Ramusio is going to be like his mother's name, I think. Ramusio, Storm Leader. Ramusio, Storm Leader. Muthaleo. We'll make it Muthaleo. Get rid of that extra L because it doesn't Let's see, Goliath. Seafarer. Hey there, thanks for joining. We are creating a Goliath salesman. I don't know what the right words are to use here. They own a ship. They are a tradesman. There we go, tradesman. Goliath tradesman. Seafaring tradesman. Seafaring. What's the name of their ship gonna be? Captain of the... Where's some boat names? Can I think of some boat names here? Captain of the Soggy Bottom. The Sleek Sloop. I love alliteration. It's my favorite bit of wordplay. Yeah, dude, Goliath is sailing a ship. Come on in. So his story is this. He got his name Storm Leader because the wave Cleaver. I thought that's what that said. I fucking love that name. Captain of the Wave Cleaver. So essentially they grew up as a... Oh, this will be good too. So their dad was a boat hand, and this boat's been passed down, possibly. And there was a big storm on the sea. They were transporting some goods up to maybe Neverwinter and back along the coast, and a big storm broke. And through some turn of events, his father had fallen to the storm, and Ramusio took up the helm and manned the ship whilst single-handedly holding one of the mast ropes through their sheer strength, and like being the holder, and ended up leading this ship and the crew back to Daggerford through the storm, led them through the storm leader, and now is a revered and sought after tradesman for their ability to ensure safe travel of goods and yeah. King, what's up? I think that's good. I think that's all that needs. I love brief but to the point backstories, and also I also agree with this, when you're creating backstory for your own players, for your stories, the first thing you're what level are you? Because you need to consider the level. In my opinion, the level is going to determine how much backstory you're allowed to have. But in any sense, your backstory should be concise, to the point, and should have some tools that you can use to tell stories, right? If you're level 3, you haven't done that much. You haven't been across the world to be, fight armies and be a leader and a general of a battalion, and then you're like, oh yeah, now I'm just an adventurer and I'm level 3. Like, no, it doesn't make sense. You're level 3, you've probably done a few things. You've definitely done some stuff. You haven't done nothing, but I think a lot of times people have an idea of a character that they really want to play, and they disregard the other storytelling prompts that they're given, and they try to just like fit a circle peg into a square hole. And it's like, no, like you're like, if you were creating a level 10 character, like that idea is really good. So like, for example, a great example, I have the headcanon of this really cool, I think it's called an, I forget what it's called. I see it a lot in animes I watch. It's like this guitar that they strum like one time, and it's like this big instrument, and normally like a very beautiful girl will be playing it, and they just sit there so calmly and they don't move, and it's just like a very, so like that's like the idea, the headcanon, right? But I want to make that into a character, like a bard, if you will, that kind of levitates and doesn't actually like walk around, but they're just always like maybe hovering, and they play music like this and just strum their way through life, like a very enchanted type bard character. Now, I'm not gonna whip that out when homeboy is like, hey, we're doing a level 3 to level 8 campaign, you like make me a character that, you know, would be near Baldur's Gate around this, you know, like it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm gonna hold that in my little pocket all the way up until someone's like, we're doing a level 10 to 20 campaign. Everybody starts with an extra feat and gets 2 magical items of their choosing. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, now I can levitate, and now I can be the character that I want to be, and it makes sense. And a lot of times I think some characters you can build into them. You know, like, so you can have the growth story, or maybe they don't start off as you see them, but they grow and build into that and gain the abilities as they level, which is also is plausible. But all right, back to Ramusio, Storm Leader. He's a Goliath Seafaring Captain of the Wave Clear. He is revered for his ability to ensure safe delivery of goods. Earned his name taking up helm of his father's ship and braving the storms to return the crew home safely. Bah. Well, those are two different things. How do you mean you're not playing your character right? What do you think you mean by that? And then what is his personality going to be like? So, strong. Inspiring. Strong, inspiring. I like doing 3. Gives me something to work with when I have 3 types of traits. Oh, if you're not too talkative. Well, I mean, off the rip, a monk could be a very quiet character. There's no guarantee that that monk has to be very talkative. But then also, conversely, like, there's no reason that you don't need to talk as a monk. You know, what do you see your character as? And I guess the second part of that question, so there's 2 parts, is like, why do you think you're not too talkative? That's how well, I think a big deal with this, like when trying to make your character come to life, you need to be very concise about what you want. And you need to almost like work to get those story points across So put yourself in positions to do things that your character would do. So like let's start there. Like, who's your character? What are they supposed to be? What do you see? I'll be right back. I gotta put my ice back. So like, yeah, who is this monk? Who are they supposed to be? So like, right here, I'm gonna. This is a strong, inspiring Goliath. What else? I need one more thing. Monk barbarian. All right. Little rage monk combo. Practical? Pragmatic? I think pragmatic is what I like. Because the story is that his father fell off the ship and he left his own father behind. Like, he didn't turn the ship around to go get his dad because he understood that if they didn't do everything they could to get that ship out of trouble, then the entire crew would lose their lives. And it wasn't worth turning the ship around for his father because he valued the lives of many more than the one that was most special to him. A very pragmatic individual. An orphaned human was raised by a minotaur. Okay. That's where he gets his barb life from. Alright. What does this Goliath look like? What did it look like? Oh, I hate that about Excel. I like using the arrow keys, and if you're not up top, it just like brings you through each cell. I guess when I want to go through each cell, it's very nice, but I feel like he should have a scar. I feel like this Goliath should have a scar of some sort. I'm trying to think of like why he would have a scar from fighting a something. Well, he's an orphaned human raised by minotaurs. There's some trauma there. There's some indifference there. They're not like all the other kids. You know, they weren't raised with mom and dad in a happy household. But let's be honest, most Dungeons and Dragons characters don't come from a happy household. What are your traumas? What motivates this character, right? Maybe he's like missing a finger. Maybe he's missing a couple fingers. I already did a missing digit. Well, I did half a digit for clone. Let's see. Pale blue skin. With noticeable sunburns. With light patches, notably from sun damage. Out in the water, there isn't much shade. shaved head with a shaved head. Why? No, that's awesome. Trauma's great. But why? You know? You're a silly cat. Oh, okay. Got you. I mean, unless you're playing honor mode, just F5, F8. Like all the cool kids. Let's see. Pale blue skin with a shaved head. That's one sentence. Light patches. From sun damage. Oh, you do play honor mode. What up? I'm waiting to. I'm gonna get back into an honor mode run. I'm hoping to stream it. I just got to figure out what's going on with my capture. For some reason, it's the only thing I try to stream that has it's like a faded contrast. It's really weird. Troubleshooting is beyond me sometimes. Mutton chops. Glorious mutton chops. Grand mutton chops of gray. Yeah, give me like, yeah, gray. Give me an older dude. Hey there, thanks for joining. Well, isn't that the point, King Poverty? I'm excited. So, like, one of the things that I missed. So I played a lot of beta by myself, and then I played a lot of release with my friend, and we just wanted to see a lot of the game. So we ended up like reloading a lot and like going through different parts and doing different things to get certain things to happen. But I kind of missed that element of Dungeons and Dragons where you let the story be told. You let it roll out the way it's supposed to roll out. You don't go back on your decisions. You don't reload. You know, like you just play it out. You know, because in a role-playing game, there are no wrong decisions. There isn't anything wrong to say, you know? Like, it's all part of the story. And trying to roll that into one big ball can be challenging, or it can also be hard to swallow because you're like, I really wanted this to happen. But it's kind of beautiful in its own right. Savage, putting up the high numbers, 30 deaths, I love it. Yeah, I definitely believe there's going to be a handful of times where just like, I heard there was one thing on Reddit where the dude was like, I forgot to turn off auto follow on my companions, and they jumped down the pit in the goblin camp to go down to the Underdark, and the rest of their party decided to jump down it too, but only one of them had Featherfall on. So the entire party died to fall damage. End honor mode. Grand mutton chops of gray. And chapped lips. Calloused hands. A rough-looking individual. Okay, so we have created a person for house lot 21. The name that was living there was Ramusio from Daggerford before. These are all house names that have been real at one point. Was Ramusio necessarily a family of Goliaths? No. Does it matter? No. Is it cool? Yes, because I use that to make my story. So they're Goliath. Their name's Ramusio. Ramusio is kind of a weird name for Goliath because it's very human-like. It's almost Italian. Ramusio. So I was like, all right. So like his dad married a human. They had him. She wanted him to have partially a human name, so they gave him Ramusio. And then Muthaleo is. I don't like that Muthaleo anymore. Because now that I said Italian, it's like too many Eos and Eos. You know? It's like, It's not what I'm going for, my guy. Kalagukena. Ugunakane. Ramusio, Stormleader, Ugunakane. It's just so many syllables. Why? Ugunakane? I was looking at that one. Let me see what it sounds like. Ramusio, Stormleader, Ugunakane. That works. Yeah, I mean, like half the time that's the decision process that's made. Like that's how I landed on a centaur druid who runs a stables because she can talk to horses. She's the horse liaison. She speaks for the horses. So Ramusio, Stormleader, Ugunakane grew up the son of a tradesman, ended up earning his name by taking up the helm of his father's ship and braving the storms to return his crew home safely. He is now revered for his ability to ensure safe delivery of goods, and he's the captain of the Wave Cleaver. He's a strong and inspiring pragmatic man with pale blue skin and a shaved head, light patches notably from sun damage, grand mutton chops of gray, chapped lips, and callous hands. A rugged-looking individual. Yeah, there you go. I'd love to talk it out with you, you know, because nobody likes that feeling of like it's either it's not being presented the way I want it to present, or I'm doing something, like I'm not doing enough, right? Like I'm not, like, it needs a little bit more oomph. So sometimes just talking about it and kind of like visualizing what you want for your character is good. Da-ba-la-doo-ba-da. Archiloque. They really got some names for me here. I'm gonna just take a 5-minute stretch while I read your message there and get a fresh coffee. I'll be back. Right. Yeah, I think those are great points to kind of define your character. You know it? Like, I really love, like I said there, like the using how you fight as a defining characteristic of your character, right? The roleplay doesn't stop when initiative's rolled, and often my character will say things. A great house rule that I've incorporated from my good friend the Lore Master is adding another component to your turn. So you have your action, your movement, your bonus action, your reaction, and a voice line. So your character is allowed to say at least like one sentence or two sentences if it's needed, but something short on their turn in the battle. And it's a really good way to kind of get people thinking. And honestly, like, I love, like, a lot of characters that I've watched or have good headcanon of, you know, from anime or different shows. A lot of times they'll have catchphrases or slogans. Like, first thing that comes to mind is, like, My Hero Academia. All Might, I am here! You know, you shouldn't worry because, you know, I'm, you know, so it's like, that's his catchphrase, so that's something you can say in combat, right? It's something that'll give your character some definition. Maybe your character's always, like you said, running forward into combat, the first one in, but also, like, when they run in, there's, everybody get back, I'll take this. Like, you know, take cover, I'll hold them off, right? Stuff like that. Attack a bear that ended up being attacked by a pack of wolves. Yeah, exactly. Like, your character could stay. Not only could they be, the trauma pushes them to protect their party members, but also pushes them to not protect themselves, like a little reckless endangerment almost, where they will stay up against a pack of wolves and fight till their last HP die, or at HP point, to make sure that the party gets away safely or make sure the task gets done, right? Yeah, heck yeah, I love that. I think those are all great points, to build a character upon. And like I said, like, if you want to see that come to life more, use your voice lines to push that, right? When you speak, be concerned about people's safety. Like, when the party's discussing the plans for how they want to, you know, go and attack the bandit encampment, you know, always being like, oh, well, maybe we should do something that's, like, a little bit safer for the party. Maybe we should stick together and, you know, like, stuff like that. Always leading them towards a safer decision. But then when combat starts, exact opposite. You're right at the front of the line. You don't care about safety. You're trying to do as much as you can to protect them with your own life, and you'll lay that down on the line. Because you dying for what you believe in is a better outcome than watching another party you've fallen in love with die, right? That's your motivation. We found it. Boom. That's all you need. That's a whole character right there. And a beautiful character at that, right? You got your little spider dabble in there for a little flavor. The Minotaur being your what raised you. All right, I'll do one more creation. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like six creations. We'll do one more before I hop off. It's getting a bit long here. I gotta go lay down pretty soon. Bad daddy issues too. Well, so here's the thing: is we don't want to crowd the personality sheet, right? So something that I would always say is, you know, like, whatever you're turning the camera to in D&D, whatever you're bringing focus to is what's going to be reality, right? And if you're constantly changing that camera, it's hard for these concepts to be grasped. So if you have multiple personality traits, it can work, but you have to remember that if you have too many, then maybe the one you really care about isn't coming across the way you want. And I think you, at the beginning of this conversation, there was a little bit of your concern, right? Is my character being presented the way I want them? Am I saying the right things, or am I not talkative enough, right? I don't think it's necessarily that you're not talking enough. I think it might be you need to focus on what you want your character to be, and really die on that hill. I like choosing one big personality feat. That's the main thing that I am. And then we'll add a little dabble in there, and then maybe we'll allow that hill to change, you know, if we have a friend that persuades us or convinces us otherwise. But I'd be careful about adding in too many traumas and too many personality traits, because it'll just end up clouding the perception of what you want your character to be. I would definitely recommend, if you have another traumatic type character idea or mentality, just grab that idea, save it for a new character, and make that the grand personality type of a new character. Because, like I said before, I honestly think that that's more than enough what we have right there for a character's motivation. And a character that's willing to be part of the story and progress the narrative and not be aloof or away from the party, right? I think it's a very wholesome and well thought out character that you've made. That's a good story though, so I don't mind that. You were adopted, so was it your real dad? Like your bio dad? Oh, that's a 40. Oh, dude. Alright, A, your dungeon master did a dirty on you. B, that's a really fun story, so that's totally viable. And I think that, like, kind of just goes with a little bit of that angst of your roots of your character, right? You're an adopted character. You have a different life. You weren't raised, you know, in a traditional setting, and you're a dude that punches things to solve your problems, right? You're a barbarian, so yeah, Bio Dad shows up. He's gonna get a clock one time. Nice. So that's definitely hats off to the Dungeon Master for incorporating that into your gameplay. I love that. 40 on my sheet is a Loxodon. How long does 80 years Loxodon? Okay, so this could be a good storytelling component for me. Yeah, I think that's just something to consider, you know, just it's good to have a rich character with lots of role-playing points that you can pull from for inspiration, or that your dungeon master can use in that sense of, like, you know, throwing your bio dad into the scene and seeing what happens, right? Great for telling story, great for role play, but even as a dungeon master, this same concept plagues me. If I'm not skilled enough at showing the characters what I want them to see in the manner I want them to see it consistently, then they're not seeing what I want them to see. And the same thing holds true for your character. If you're not consistently showing them that you have traumatic issues based in detachment from your party, and that you want to save them, and that you're willing to do that with your life, and you're not readily and consistently showing that, then they won't get that, and they won't see that. So it's something to keep in mind, right? It's something when you step into your session, your 3-4 hour session, right? It's something to have on the back burner. Like, so when the role play session starts, you're like, how can I talk about how I want to keep these people safe? When the combat starts, what can I do to try and keep these people safe? And just keep thinking that as you play, and keep that being the main factor. And then when opportunity arises, like your dad showing up in the scene, yeah, clock him in the face because you were abandoned and adopted as a kid. Like, that's so on the money, right? And like, maybe even so, here's a great idea. Take that scene and maybe reconnect it to your main pillar of your character. You punched your dad in the face because he did not do what you do now, which is fight to your last dying breath for the people you love, right? He gave up. He left you. He let you be. You would never do that. And you absolutely can't stand the fact that that's your father and this is who you're two exactly total polar opposites. Yeah, all in good time. I think that's definitely another thing we can talk about when it comes to like getting your character across and getting your point across as a character. Like, you don't want to be shoving your character and your backstory down everybody's throats, right? You want to be looking for opportunities to reveal your backstory to people. And I also, like, I think, that stems back to, like, you don't want too much personality. You don't want so many things on your character sheet that you're trying to achieve in roleplay, because then you would be, inundating the mic space with your character's backstory, right? You want to be using a portion of the mic space for you and your character, but you don't want to be using all of it. So yeah, just more things to keep in mind. I think it's very important to be cognizant of the table while you play D&D. So let's see, we're doing a Loxodon, so this is going to be important, because this person's going to be really old. Let's see where their house is. 22. A very small house. Very small house. They live by themselves. This isn't a family, man. Arkiloquay. Well, I mean, I think it's more of like a perception of how I see things, right? So you gave me 2 or 3 plot points for your character, and this is like a good way to think as a dungeon master, right? And then like I thought of like the outcomes, right? Like what you would be like and what you would think because of those things that happened to you, right? And a lot of times it's just the converse feeling. So you lost your party, so conversely, you don't want to lose your party. And now that's a personality trait, And you can flavor that and theme that any way you like, but a lot of times it's just the inverse of the outcome, right? Loxodon names. Nice. Arkiloquay. Ibaz Arkiloquay. Zom, Tiz, Abran. Sos, Sval. Nobrin, Archilique. I like that. Nobrin. What do you think? And I think that's why it's important to have, you know, these pillars in your backstory, because it gives the DM stuff to work with. And it kind of ties everything together. But I think that's I'm gonna table it there. Family's getting home, so I'm gonna spend some time with the kiddo. I'll be streaming tomorrow afternoon ish. I don't know if I have D&D this week. I think I might Friday. It's December, so a lot of my sessions are getting put off. So it was nice talking to you, King. Aster, thanks everybody for stopping by the stream. We'll see you soon.